Okay, we're continuing our work with solving equations in one variable. We're going to look at the type that has a variable on both sides. Let me circle that in red. Okay, the author of the book that we're using this semester always moves the variable terms, and by variable term that means a term with a variable. So 2x is a variable term. 7 is not a variable term. It doesn't have a letter. Always moves the variable term to the left. And this is correct, but it doesn't have to be done this way. And some of my students come in saying that my teacher taught me that I always have to have x equals. But it's okay. You can have x equals 4. That's the same thing as 4 equals x. It doesn't matter. Okay? I am going to let you do it either way. And the reason I say that is because sign errors are the most common type of error. So I try to avoid that. When you're solving equations, that means you're going to move the smaller variable term. So your x might be on the right side or it might be on the left. But this will help you avoid negatives. Okay? So to repeat, to avoid a negative variable term when you're solving, if you have variable terms on both sides, move the smaller variable term. You might be adding it, you might be subtracting it. It actually depends on what that term is. Once you do that, you're going to get a problem that then looks like 5 or 6 that we did in the earlier lesson. Okay, let's look at this first example. And again, when I have an equation, you can mentally circle the equal sign or actually circle it, and then I draw a line. I have two sides, left side, right side. There's nothing I can do on the left, and there's nothing I can do on the right. So now I'm going to look at my variable terms. On the left, my variable term is 8x. On the right, my variable term is 5x. What's smaller, 8x or 5x? 5x. To get 5x, to move 5x from this side of the equation to that side, I do the opposite of 5x, and it's not division because I'm not just getting rid of the 5. I'm getting rid of the whole term. And I'm going to either add it or subtract it. In this case, I'm going to subtract it. And I have to subtract it on both sides, or I unbalance my equation. So when I subtract this, 8x minus 5x is 3x. The minus 2 comes down, equals 5x minus 5x is 0x, which is 0, crosses out, and I have a positive 7. You could write plus 7 if you want, but it just means positive 7, and we usually don't write the positive sign. Okay, now we've got a variable that's only on the left side. When we started, I had a variable on both sides. And that was the type we did not do yet. All right, so I've got my x on the left, I've got 3 by it, and I've got minus 2 by it. I have to move both of those. But to make it easier, move the plus minus number. Since it's minus 2, I'm going to do the opposite or add 2. I get 3x, the 2's cancel, equals 9. Is the variable by itself? No, it has a 3 with it. I want to get rid of this 3. The operation between 3 and x in this case is multiplication. So to get rid of it, I do the opposite, which is divide. The 3's cancel. I get x equals 3. I will leave the check up to you. Okay? 2 and 3. And if you ever want to do these problems on your own, just pause the video and try it, and then unpause it when you're done. Okay, I have an equal sign. I see that I have a variable on both sides. My variable terms are negative 8x and negative 2x. Which one is smaller? Well, negative 8 is smaller than negative 2. So I'm going to move the negative 8 from the left side to the right side by adding it. Opposite of negative is positive. Notice I'm lining it up under my like term. My 8x's cancel on the left. I have 3 equals negative 2x plus 8x is 6x, and minus 4 just comes down. Now I went from an equation that had 2 variables, one on each side, to, well, I'm sorry, it was 1 variable, but it appeared twice, once on each side, to a new equation that's equal to the first equation with a variable just on the left, just on the right. Okay, it has a 6 next to it and a minus 4 next to it. I'm going to get rid of minus 4 by adding 4 to both sides of my equation. Is the variable by itself? No, it has a 6 next to it. How do I get rid of the 6? Well, 6 and x, the operation between them is multiplication. So the opposite is divide. The 6's cancel. 7 over 6 equals x. Again, I will leave the check up to you. Okay, problem number 3. Here's my equal sign. I have a left side and a right side. On the left side, there's nothing I can do. I cannot add 2x and 8 because they're not like terms. And there's no parentheses. On the right side, I have 7 minus 4x. I can't subtract because they're not like terms. There's nothing to distribute. So now I am going to move one of my variables. I have 2x and I have negative 4x. Which is smaller, 2x or negative 4x? Negative 4x. So to get that to move to the other side, I do the opposite or add it. My new equation is 6x plus 8 equals 7 because my 4x is canceled. My variable is now on the left, but it only appears once. I'm using my properties to make the equation smaller and smaller and smaller, or I should say shorter and shorter, until all I have left is a variable on one side and a number on the other. Okay, I need to get rid of 6 or 8. I'm going to get rid of the 8 because that's a plus 8. I subtract 8 on both sides. The 8's cancel. My new equation is 6x equals negative 1. Is your variable by itself? No, it has a 6 next to it. And it means 6 times x, so the opposite of times is divide. The 6's cancel. I get x equals negative 1/6. Okay, another type of linear equation is one that contains parentheses. These are going to be the longest type of linear equations that you will need to solve for this class. I have written out all the steps, but don't just try to memorize a step. Basically, what you're trying to do is get x by itself. I have talked through all of these steps. Simplify each side. Okay, that's when I put my wall, and you've got your left side and your right side. You simplify them separately as much as you can. In any of the examples we've done so far, we haven't needed to do that first step. We've done the second step. If there are variables on both sides, move one of the variable terms using addition or subtraction. Okay, it's okay to move either one, but I've been showing you how to avoid negative terms. To do that, you move the smaller variable. Then I'm going to have a variable term and a constant if there is one. I move that constant by adding it or subtracting it, and then I divide. So let's do some more examples. 4x plus 2, parentheses x minus 3, parentheses equals 8. Here's my equal sign. There's my wall. On the left side, there's some work I can do. I can distribute the 2. I get 4x plus 2x minus 6. On the right side, there's nothing to do. I just get 8, so I copy it down. Now when I look at the left side, let me do that in purple. There's still more work I can do. So before you start moving stuff, do everything you can. 4x plus 2x is 6x. I copy the 8 down. Okay. Now I went from 2 variables there to 2 variables there to now 1 variable. My next step, remember I'm trying to get x by itself. My next step is going to be to add 6 to both sides. I get 6x, the 6's cancel, equals 14. Is the x by itself? No, so I'm going to divide by 6. X equals 14 over 6, but that can be reduced by 2. I get 7 over 3. Leaving your answer improper is okay, or you can go to the mixed number. 3 divides into 7 twice with a remainder of 1. I don't care which answer you give, and neither does the online homework platform that you use. Okay, next page. Number 2. On the left, I can distribute. I have 6x. Now be careful, you're distributing a negative 4. The sign goes with the number. So I have 6x minus 4x minus 8 equals negative 3. I can combine my like terms. I get 2x minus 8 equals negative 3. Now I add 8 to both sides. I get 2x equals 5. My x is still not by itself, so I divide both sides by 2 to get rid of the coefficient. X equals 5 over 2 does not reduce. You could write it as an mixed number. Should not. So it could be either or. You do not have to write both. Just pick the one you like better. And even if you used your calculator, you'd get a decimal. I'd be okay with that also. All right, now number 3. I probably did not leave enough room on the paper, but in number 3, on the left and the right, there's stuff you can do. So on the left side, I'm going to distribute the 3. You have to get rid of parentheses first, remember? And on the right, I'm going to distribute a -2. Be very careful with your signs. On the left side, I get 5x plus 3 times 4x is 12x. 3 times -1 is -3, so -3. On the right-hand side, do not do 6 minus 2 is 4. I have to do my parentheses first. So this is going to be 6. -2 times 3x is -6x. -2 times 1 is -2. Okay, now there's still more work I can do on the left. I can combine like terms, and on the right I can combine like terms. So my new equation is 17x minus 3 on the left, and on the right 6 minus 2 is 4 minus 6x. Now if you look at the left side, there's nothing I can do. I can't subtract those, they're not like terms. Same thing on the right. I can't subtract those are not like terms. So now I'm going to look at my variable terms. I have -6x and I have 17x. Which one is smaller? -6x. So I'm going to move that by adding it. I get 23x minus 3 equals 4. Add 3 to both sides. I get 23x equals 7. X is still not by itself, so I have one more step. Divide by 23. The 23's cancel. I have x equals 7 over 23. It doesn't reduce. Done. Okay, number 4, a little bit longer yet. Here's my equal sign, so here's my wall. Left side, right side. On the left side, I'm going to distribute a -4. On the right side, I'm going to distribute a +3. So I get 8x. -4 times 2x is -8x. -4 times -3 is +12. Watch your signs. Common mistake there. And then minus 5x. On the right-hand side, I have 4x. 3 times 2x is a +6x. 3 times -3 is -9 plus 2. Okay. Now I have like terms on the left side. My x terms are like terms. On the right side, I also have x terms and I also have constants I can combine. So on the left side, 8x minus 8x is 0. Minus 5x is minus 5x. Plus 12 comes down. On the right, 4x plus 6x is 10x. -9 plus 2 is -7. Again, another common sign error here is to write -11 because people will add 9 and 2, but that's not 9, it's -9. All right, so now we have x's on both sides. I'm going to move one. It doesn't matter which one you move, but I like to avoid negatives. So I'm going to move the smaller one, which is negative 5x, by adding it to both sides. Notice I'm lining it up under the like term. Negative 5x plus 5x cancels. I have 12 equals 10x plus 5x is 15x, minus 7 drops down. Now I have one variable over here. I need to move the 15 and I need to move the minus 7. Always move the plus minus first. So I'm going to add 7. 19 equals 15x. Again, x is not by itself, so I need to get rid of 15. Since this says 15 times x, I'm going to divide by 15. On the right, the 15's cancel. I get 19 over 15 equals x. If you want to write that as a mixed number, that would be 1 4/15. Either way is fine. Okay, and we are going to actually stop this recording here. We'll continue this lesson in another recording.